excited. I'm in Washington, D.C. today with the former 500 executive, Darron Pressley. We're going to talk today, introduce Darron to you, and we're going to go from there. He now has the opportunity to work at Black Enterprise Magazine, so I'm really, really excited to have you today.
Thank you for having me. Just for the city and Michelle. I'm excited to be here today.
So being that you are a former Fortune 500 company executive, tell us a little bit about that, and how did you transition from being an executive at such a big company to now working for Black Enterprise?
Well, the transition wasn't the easiest transition, but I think I put myself in the right positions. After I got done playing basketball professionally in Europe, I was able to work at M1, the basketball marketing company in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. And with the opportunity there, I was on our NBA marketing side, so I got to do a lot of work with a lot of professional athletes, dealing with NBA marketing, color-ups, footwear, on-court apparel, that sort of thing. So from there, I transitioned to Kellogg's. I had a great experience there, learned a ton of knowledge around marketing products, going to market, how to brand a product. And so from there, I transitioned out about a year and a half ago, and I started to do, I started my own company, and which revolved around brand management, social strategy, communication strategy, and specifically with professional athletes. So with my background with sports, with marketing, I was able to use that to really start my own organization and start to work with people individually and work with them on being successful in marketing themselves.
So being that you used to work for Kellogg's and now you write for Black Enterprise Magazine, tell us a little bit about what you do at Black Enterprise and some of the people that you had the opportunity to work with.
Oh, I had the unique opportunity to actually be featured in Black Enterprise in May of 2012. So they did a feature story on me, my transition. It was in the Wealth for Life section of the magazine. So I got to just give my advice on how to save, how to, as an entrepreneur, how to save money, how to position yourself to pursue those goals and those dreams that you have if you are to leave an organization that you work for. So I write specifically in our career section for Black Enterprise Magazine, and really focusing on career advice, leadership, career planning, strategy, and development. And with that opportunity, I get to not only write my own pieces, but also to interview a lot of professionals in different industries, and get their advice within their industry on how to be successful. I've gotten to talk to tons of people in the music industry. Carvin Higgins, who's a Grammy-nominated winning producer. He's produced for Music Soul Child. He's produced for Justin Timberlake, for T.I. He's produced for everybody in the industry. Karen Civil is a phenomenal woman. Got to speak with her and do some interviews with her as well. Gotten to work with speak to athletic directors, CEOs of organizations. So it's a lot of different areas that I covered, but mainly in that career aspect.
So we're gonna make sure that Oops I Spilled the Tea and Miss Barnes is somehow one of these days in Black Enterprise Magazine. We're definitely gonna get the magazine. That's like a big.
That's one of my goals as well. It's just to provide that outlet for people, where they have that experience, so they can have that kind of voice to talk to an audience about what they do.
So exactly. So you said you worked for Kellogg's and then you worked for Black Enterprise. You live in the Washington D.C. area. So tell us a little bit about where you're from and how you actually came to this area, because D.C. is big. It has a lot going on. So where did you originate from? Where are you from?
I'm originally from Lancaster, Pennsylvania. I grew up in Harrisburg and moved to Lancaster, Pennsylvania throughout my middle school, high school years. So went there, was living in Lancaster. From there, I went to school at Virginia Military Institute, which is in Lexington, Virginia. Had the great opportunity to play basketball there on a full basketball scholarship. And so being in that area, I kind of built relationships with a lot of people that were in the DC metro area. A lot of players that I played basketball with, they were from the area, so I would travel up here during the summer, playing summer league. So I always liked the area, and always wanted to make it a home for myself eventually when I got done with school and got into my career and that sort of thing. So starting from not a big city like Lancaster, Pennsylvania.
I'm familiar with Lancaster, and Lancaster's like, it's big.
Yeah, it's not a big
like
city.
Horse and buggies, Amish people. It's not a city at all. From Lancaster, Pennsylvania to Washington D.C. It's definitely a huge transition.
Yeah.
It's definitely a huge transition.
And it's one of those things where you put yourself in the right opportunities, you meet the right people, and good things happen. And like I said, that's why I'm excited to be here with Eastwood at T and Rashay, just to provide my insight that I can for the audience.
So working at Black Enterprise, what do you think thus far is like the most exciting story that you cover, or the most exciting thing that you did? Now I know you might have to take a second and think because you've done so much, but just working there, like, what do you think is the most exciting thing that you've done thus far?
I do have to think a little bit for that. But, I think the most exciting thing for me is when Black Enterprise, or when the editors request me, or ask me, say, hey, we'd love for you to do this specific piece on this specific person. So being able to being requested to do a piece with like Todd Tucker, who he's a reality TV. He's on reality TV. He produces. He's on Housewives of Atlanta. So to be able to do stuff with him and talk and get those requests to do those types of pieces, that's what kind of makes me feel good, because I know that I'm doing a good job for them to come to me and say, hey, we'd love for you to do this piece. So that's always fun for me to be able to have those types of experiences. Well, it's kind of a funny story. I didn't go to school for journalism. I wasn't an English major, but I always did like to write. Even in high school, my writing assignments always did well. So I'm not like a traditional, journalist or journalism major or anything like that. But just using the connections that I have and the experiences that I have with different organizations and working in my career, I was able to get with the people at Black Enterprise and provide them something of value. Say, I have connections with certain people in different industries that I could write about and give career advice, not only just their career advice, but also advice that I have personally from my growing up, and from my working at Kellogg's, working at N1, and those different experiences that I've had. Being young, being 20. 8, 29, 30, in my early 30s now, a lot of experience that I've gotten from working at a Fortune 500 company, or working with a brand like N1, where it was kind of that grassroots marketing. We had NBA players, we had the whole N1 mixtape tour. So those experiences can be put on paper. So I'm not the best writer in the world. I don't think that you have to be the best at something all the time. You have to be good at it, and you have to provide value. So I know for sure I'm not the best writer in the world, but I have something to say, and I can provide value and advice and input to people. So that's kind of how I got into writing. I also read a lot of books too. I think that's one thing that you got to do. Yeah, you got to read. You got to read books. You got to read. Because for me, when you don't read, you're not learning, and when you're not learning, you're not growing. So I'm constantly I'm reading stuff, and when you're reading stuff, it's really true. Knowledge is power, and so when you're reading, you're gaining some knowledge, and if you apply that knowledge, then you're setting yourself up for good stuff. So
I think you said something that was really important that stood out to me. You just said that you may not have been the best writer, but you try. And a lot of times people feel like they have to be the best at everything that they do, and you're not going to be good or 100% at everything you do, but at least you're trying. As long as you're trying, that's all that really matters. So I think that's when the branding part comes in. Like, people have to realize that you are the brand.
Right.
So what type of advice would you give to someone maybe looking to get into journalism, or just to do anything? Like, they don't really want to do the traditional route, getting a job.
Right.
They have this company they want to start, or they have a business that they're working on, but they don't know how to brand themselves. What is some advice that you would give to someone for like branding techniques or branding strategies?
I would first, you got to understand who you are as a person and what type of message you want to communicate to people. Everybody's different. We're all different. We all do different things. But at the end of the day, you have to be, whatever it is that you do, you got to be consistent. I like to use, like when I'm talking to college students and stuff like that, I always use examples like, you look at someone like Puff Daddy. He's always reinventing himself, but what he does is he's consistent. We know Puff Daddy as someone that is, he's super outgoing. He's on the scene. He's into partying. When he's partying, he's actually working. But that's what we see, and it's consistent. like we consistently see him doing the same things.
Same thing.
Right. So that's what he becomes. So when you're consistently communicating a certain message, that's what people are going to know you as, see you as, and that's what people are going to believe. So, we want to, communicate a good message always, but, you got to realize who you are and that you're always selling yourself.
Like, what advice would you give to college students? Because I know that you're also a motivational speaker. So he travels, he does motivational speaking. So what advice would you give to someone as far as that's concerned?
First of all, just don't give up, and I'll also say don't box yourself into whatever that major is that you got from school. I always say don't box yourself in, and when I say that, I mean don't close the door to other opportunities as they open up, and be ready for those opportunities. If there's something that you want to pursue that. My advice would to be connect with certain people in that industry. And with the way social media is today, it's so easy to reach out to connect with different people. So I would say drill down and you kind of want to be strategic about it and come up with a literal game plan. If there's a certain organization that you want to work for, target that organization, see who that might work within that organization. Reach out to those people and see what's going on internally, what jobs might be open, what positions might be available. And I will also say, you talked about branding a little bit. You really got to brand yourself outside of an organization. Brand yourself outside of that job, traditional job that you may have. Continuously put your work out there. Whatever it is that you're doing, talk about it. Don't be scared to talk about it. Don't be scared to put yourself out there. Because if I'm a good basketball player and I can shoot the ball well, but I stand in the corner and don't look for a shot, nobody's going to know I'm a good shooter. So whatever it is that you do well, put it out there. Continuously put it out there. Talk about it, and you'd be surprised how many people like those same things or like what you're doing and want to gravitate towards that too. So just don't be afraid to put yourself out there. Come up with a strategic plan. Nobody has a plan to be broke. I know that. So come up with a strategic plan. I'm serious. Nobody has a plan to be broke. And if you do, I feel sorry for you. But come up with a strategic plan. And these are the steps I'm going to take. And if those, don't get so stuck on those steps that when you take those steps and it doesn't work, be flexible. Be able to adjust too. So that's important.
You have to be flexible because it's not a straight path. Life is about trials and tribulations.
Yeah.
So you talked about basketball a little bit, and I know you are involved with something, and correct me if I'm wrong, what is it called?
It's called Team Show Up.
Team Show Up.
Team Show Up. So it's kind of a collective of guys that I played basketball with, in high school, professionally, in college. We all had great college careers, Division I college careers, and that sort of thing. And some of the guys are still playing professionally in Europe and in NBA. So we kind of have a collective called Team Show Up, and the premises behind Team Show Up is really you probably hear it a lot when you hear different athletes or sportscasters talk. They always say these guys got to show up. So the premise behind that is showing up, being ready, being ready to play in whatever game you're playing in, whatever career you're in. You got to show up. You got to be ready to go. So that's kind of the premise behind it, and it's a really positive thing where we just want to really communicate to people to be ready, to be ready to jump in the game, ready to take advantage of opportunities, and really show up. Like if I'm getting ready to go do an interview, I got to show up for that interview, ready to get stuff done. So it's kind of a basketball thing, but it kind of goes beyond basketball, and it's a little bit about life in general.
Tell us about some things that you have upcoming in the month of November, December, or in 2015. Like, where can we see you, or do you have any other projects that you're working on?
Well, you can always catch me on blackenterprise.com. The Black Enterprise. Always doing my writing there. Always doing interviews with people in various industries. Some what we call celebrities. I don't really like to call them celebrities, but
it people. On
OopsISpillTheTea.com,
your favorite it people.
Yeah, your favorite it people that you'll also see on OopsISpillTheTea.com. So you'll always catch me on there writing.
Thank you, Mr. Pressley, for being here today. I really, really appreciate it. For more interviews like the one I just did with Mr. Pressley, make sure you guys stay tuned to OopsISpillTheTea.com.
Thank you for having me. This is Darron Pressley. We're signing out. And oops, I definitely spilled the tea.